Good evening and happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's week is off to a good start. I wanted to do my review on episode 4 of Furious on Hulu. And I also realized I didn't go through the list of the titles for the episode. Not that it's like a huge deal, but if I'm going to give you a review, let me give it to you, huh? So, episode 1 is The Gorgon. Episode 2 is My Life Had Stood slash or hyphen a loaded gun. And then episode 3 is memory distortion. And episode 4 is flash flood because they literally at one point do get stuck in a flash flood. So we ended episode 3 where Alice had a confrontation with Marshall's mother slash Aunt Marshall, telling her to take back all the things she said so she doesn't ruin his reputation, and she ends up hooking up with a guy that she meets online. So this is a recurring behavior for Alice through the series. So no kink shaming at all, not to yuck anyone's yum at all, but she enjoys rough play or rough foreplay. So she meets a guy and he does rough her up. And then we end up going on a night ride with Alice and Nora. So I like the formation of their relationship and they seem to be getting closer, but they're talking to all of the women at Hunts Point, the sex workers, to see if anyone's seen the girl in the picture that we now know um, is was Catherine's friend, and we can surmise from what we know so far is that she has passed away. So we're starting to get more layers of why Catherine is taking justice into her own hands and um, unaliving these men. They end up tracing her to a children's shelter. So they end up driving upstate and they end up on their way back getting stuck in a flash flood. But the interesting thing is when they go to the group home, they and the girl in the picture, her name is Isabel, and I'm trying to find more screenshots, but this show is so new, there's not really much supplied online. So I think what I'm going to do is go back through the series and do screen captures that way so you can associate the characters with it and the events with the actual picture. So I should have that up shortly. So they end up bringing Isabel's box of personal items that they were never able to give her because she got away. And we also learned that the woman that manages the group home, she was suspecting that Isabel might be pregnant. And then we also realize, or she also puts two and two together, that Catherine was Isabel's friend in the group home and they were super close. Um, so we're starting to get more and more and more information, and we're starting to see more of Catherine's backstory. Also, there is a police interview with Emma, whose father was one of the victims of Catherine earlier in the show. His name was Jay, and they are trying to see what Emma knows. And I really can't tell if Emma knows a lot about her father. I think from her interaction with them, which actually goes way better because she was one of the first people to tell Alice that she stinks, by the way. When they did the formal interview, Alice toned back the aggression. She ended up pulling back and being the bad or the good cop, while the other cop ended up being the bad cop. And they end up showing the photo where her father is in the picture. And from what I took from her response when she saw the picture, because she just acted like that's fake, that's not real, that's AI, whatever. So I think she knows that her father is into some things, but she, like most protectors, she can't um, accept the fact that he might be a predator. So they end that interview. And then, that was before they left for upstate, by the way. Sorry, I got a little out of chronological order. Also, Nora stays back and she ends up scrolling through her like history and case report, and she's looking for unidentified women. And she realizes that Isabel was one of the cases that she closed, and there's no activity, or not necessarily closed, but she was on the case, and there's like been no action on it. She also confronts a guy named Ed George who works at the FBI as well, and he was hosting a seminar on mental health and mental wellness. And I could definitely tell there's some tension there, so I'm sure that's going to become more into the series as we get more episodes. Um, but she confronted him about the case, and he told Nora in the most subtle, threatening, "I will let everybody know you're an alcoholic," which Nora is an alcoholic. She's When they went on the ride around to Hunts Point, her and Alice, she was drinking then. Like every scene, she's got a bottle of something going on, going into her Stanley. So she definitely does have a drinking problem. But he told her that if she wants to keep her job, pretty much in a nonchalant, let me say, trying to be in the most polite way, shut your mouth, or I'm going to let everybody know that you have a drinking problem, which I'm pretty sure everybody knows she has a drinking problem. I think that's like kind of hard to hide, especially with like the amount that she is drinking, because you can't like, once you start drinking so much, like it's on your breath, it's like seeping through your pores. So I'm sure like, and it is a series, I get that, but I'm sure someone would know, or there are people that know that she has. I mean, Alice knows she has a drinking problem, and they've only been working together for what? How long? So while she's investigating that, Alice is out on the field. They're trying to get more information on who Catherine is, where she came from, and also Marshall, good old Marshall, tells Nora about Alice's face, because her face is obviously bruised from the physical altercation she had with her date the night before. So Nora decides to pull Alice out on the case. And this is when I started falling out with Nora. Nora, you're on my list. And you really pissed me off this week, because they told that they're going to Alice that they're going to pull her off the case for a while. She needs to take a break. And I'm like, of all things, you're the alkie who is like not able to function through a work day, and you're telling Nora, or I mean, not Nora, you're telling Alice in her personal life what she does off the clock is not meeting the FBI standards, so she needs to take a step back from this case. I was like, the hypocrisy when she did that. So that really ticked me off. Um Now, Catherine has been a busy girl. So, Catherine is seducing the son um, of the attorney, actually, of all people, that was at the precinct with Emma. So, he's her next victim, and she's got him in his web. So, the son and her hook up, and he lives in the basement and tells her that she needs to leave in the morning. Catherine is wild. She's she's the smartest and the most unintelligent killer all in one, because she wakes up the next morning, makes herself at home, and she's going by Marta. And her story is that she is a former sex worker who advocates for sex workers. So she pulls up with her laptop, and Blanchard's mom is sitting at the kitchen table, and Marta asks for a cup of coffee and persists to make herself at home and starts talking to quote unquote clients, which she's really not, and asks for a bowl of cereal and asks for the Wi-Fi and keeps it going until he shows up. Well, when the attorney shows up, he tries to escort her out of the apartment, because she tells him, she's like, well, hey, call the police. I'd be happy to tell them how you know me. So he escorts her, and then she injects him with medicine, and she like, it was really like smart, because I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna work if she's drugging him in the elevator, how he's gonna get to the car, because she's an itty bitty girl, she can't carry him. But she got him just at the right time, where she could kind of have him like rest like on her shoulder, and she threw him in the back of the van. But she slapped that mask on again, because that's her like MO, is to wear a mask so people, cameras on the street can't catch her. And she did that like a pro. She was like smooth about it. So then she ends up returning back home, and Alden, the gentleman that she's taking care of, the physically disabled gentleman, asked her to be his girlfriend. And it just was really rushed. It was a crazy, like, rushed ending. And he asked her to be his girlfriend, and she has an emotional response, which we don't get any more like into the episode. That's like where they cut off. But the attorney's in the back seat of the car and he's waking up simultaneously as Alden is asking Catherine to be his girlfriend. And she gets emotional. So I don't know if her being emotional was sincere or if she's like playing the game. But even the daytime nurse that we saw in earlier episodes, she like helps him set up the whole romantic surprise with roses and everything is really sincere. And he really does love her. And it really is sincere. And he loves her no matter what, because he knows she has secrets and he knows she has baggage and he still loves her and wants her to like take care of him. So I'm interested to see if she really does feel genuine emotions for him. So I have three schools of thought going here. Either she's completely playing him and she just needs a place to stay. She cares for him and she doesn't have the heart to tell him that she doesn't feel the same way. She actually does care about him because he's like the one person that genuinely just like loves her for her and isn't trying to get something from her, take advantage of her. He just wants to love and take care of her. So I'm interested to see how that plays out as well. But next week, I need to see what Alice is going to do to work her way around Nora's call to stand down because she's too close and she's starting to figure out what is going on. So that was this week's episode of Furious. Oh, also, Danny, he is recently divorced, and I don't think I referenced that because we really didn't know all of Danny's backstory, and we're still figuring that out as well. But he has a son who has some developmental issues. So he also lives in a group home. So the show's also covering how he's kind of struggling since he's freshly divorced, how to afford his son's care. So I'm interested to see how that goes as well. So I can't wait for episode 5. We're at 5. That's crazy. Episode 5. It's only 8 episodes. And so far, we know the title will be Pick a Sticker, and the drop date is August the 10th. And then episode 6, They Make a Noise Like Feathers, and that will drop August 17th. So I look forward to doing another review. And thank you so much for stopping by on my channel. And if you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. And you all have a good night. Bye.